Hey guys, welcome to the channel. The objective of this video is to demonstrate a breakdown, cleaning, lubrication, and reassembly of AR-15 or AR pistol and modern striker-fired handgun like an MP or Glock, how to clean magazines, and a few of the tools and things that I use. I start with patches of a couple different sizes, one for the barrel, smaller rifle barrel, pistol barrel, just general wipe down. Bore punch. When you're punching the bore of a rifle, you always want to go from the chamber forwards because you do not want to mess with the crown of the rifle barrel. Damaging that can affect your accuracy, especially at long distances. I use CO1 generally as a CLP. Lately I've been using this gunfighter oil. It's also synthetic like the CO1, so they can play together. Whereas when you mix synthetic with petroleum, they tend to kind of fight each other and get gummed up because they're trying to just basically destroy each other. This works pretty well. I can apply it like a traditional oil. And so the difference between this video and other videos is that I'm going to be doing something that's probably more common with what most people do with the CO1. You've got to heat the parts, you've got to slather stuff on, let it cool, wipe it down. It's a lot of extra work. This is something that you can do in conjunction with it that's a little bit quicker and a little bit more of a consistent maintenance that you can do to keep your gun lubricated. Just throw some of these couple drops in where you need it and your gun will run, even though it might be dirty. Again, the main goal is not about anal retentive cleaning or anything like that, and that's all nice, and you really should have your duty weapons and concealed carry weapons and home defense weapons clean. That way there's no chance of them malfunctioning. The goal with this kind of stuff as well for me is to check parts. I'm looking for abnormalities for wear, burrs, parts breakage, cracks, anything like that. So let's go ahead and get started. First up, I've got my Arrow upper, and this is something that I built myself. It was my first upper that I've ever built, and my goal with this is that it's been sitting in a range bag, and while it does have the oil inside, a lot of it's run out into the exterior onto the charging handle. So I want to make sure that there's plenty of lube still in there, that it hasn't moved too much, and I want to make sure I haven't picked up too much lint or hairs or anything like that. It's an opportunity to check your optics and lights when you're doing this kind of maintenance. I know this needs a new battery. It's got an etch reticle, so it's not a super big deal, but if I want to do some low light shooting, it's nice to have that illuminated reticle. The light, I think, on this is fine, but again, I'll check over that. This is my Citizen Arms upper with my Air Precision lower. This lower originally I put together with this together. I've got other videos where I go over the parts and the actual assembly of that. It's kind of a fun little project I work with Dan on. This upper was built by Steve at Citizen Arms. He does custom AR work. Really cool guy. Really recommend it. With this is just a matter of clean, inspecting, and reassembly. Just maintenance interval is all that is for this. The handguns, again, I've got the MMP style handgun. This type of cleaning, what I'm doing, will work for a Glock or basically anything else. Magazines, I'm just looking at spring tension, cleaning the followers, surface rust. Make sure there's no weird grittiness or anything like that. You can break these down to where you pull out the springs and all that. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to do a quick wipe down on those. One thing for safety is make sure that you do a check of all your firearms, making sure that they are unloaded. I've got ammo separated, my magazine's unloaded, and I'm always treating the weapons as if they were loaded. I'm also going to be checking the chamber and things like that before I get started. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with this guy. Alright. So, I mean, I can feel that is smooth. But I do have a little crud as far as the lint and things like that. So that's what I'm really going to be focused on here. Let's do a quick wipe down of that. Where I have lube, you see, is along the top rail here, along the bottom rail. these corners. Basically, you'll see as you shoot, it'll start polishing the surface finish off, and that's where you want to keep oil. Feeling pretty good. I might just throw a couple of drops in there. One down here into with a cam pin, and then just one a little bit here on the edge of the bolt. Looking inside, looking at the star chamber, I'll probably do a quick little wipe down in there, and then just run a little lube through that. It helps when you're shooting the steel case ammo. This is obviously like almost saturated, so I'm just going to end up wiping this handle off and then the outside off, and then that'll be done. So this goes a long way, so just like a drop or two just to soak this. I like to bend these to get a good nice little angle. And I'm just going to stick it in the chamber area and just make sure it's got a nice little thin cut there. Again, this is cleaned before, so I'm just reapplying a little bit of lubrication. The stuff doesn't seem to evaporate like your rim oils and things like that, so you don't have to use a lot. Usually with the your thinner oils like the rim oil, you generally have to check it a lot more often. I would almost check those like once every 2 weeks, just because it's notorious for doing that. All right, for this, I really don't need oil from basically here on back, because all this part almost floats, and the 4 rails is basically what makes contact and where it slides. So I'm going to stick some down here into the star chamber. Okay, and that'll coat the bolt face that's inside, and it runs inside the BCG, or the bolt carrier rather. Another thing you can do is pop a little bit in these holes. Again, not too much. Let that get down in there. Let's move it around. See, I got hairs. It's cat hairs everywhere. You feel it now, it's so smooth. Alright, and then I'll shut this off. And it's done. Oh, sorry, it is not done. I do have the battery I need to replace in this. Gotta do a function check while I'm here. One thing I like to do is keep batteries inside my grip. I've got spare batteries for the big flashlight, the Streamlight brand, the big fat ones that go in this type of light, and then I've got this uses a AAA, so just keep spares for those. Make sure it's tight. Okay. Oh yeah, it's on. Let's see if you guys can see it. Yeah, see. And then you can do 2 buttons, and it'll change the green. It's nice when you're shooting targets that are marked with red to use that green. And you hold it down, and it turns off. This is a Prism Scope, so if you're one of those guys that has issues with astigmatism or things like that, this is a good gun to use. A good optic to use, just because it has an edge reticle, so even if the battery dies, it'll still work, and it doesn't do you don't have a bloom or anything when you're looking through it, when you have astigmatism. All right, so that's done. Pretty easy. For this guy, go ahead and just break it down. I've got a little like rust here on the safety release, things like that. So the lower is really just going to get a quick little wipe down. Okay. You always want to have your finger here to let this off nicely. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to clean the face of the trigger. I'm just going to wipe down here. I mean, this thing is like, it's super clean. If I get it to focus here. There we go. So that's super clean. No big issue. The surface rust on my thumb, actually it's dirt. So no big issue there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if this works a little bit as a cleaner. If not, I'll break out the CO1. And all I'm going to do is just dab it on these little bolts here. All good. This is a skeletonized bolt, and what he's done is used a adjustable gas block, and he's tuned everything to work with this. So this is a little dry on the surface. There's a little bit of oil there, so I mean this would still work, but I want to go ahead and give it a nice little wipe down and re-oil it. This has got like a more of a nitride finish, whereas the other BCG has a phosphate. Though, since I put more rounds in this, it still feels smoother than this does. So again, just doing a quick wipe down. See all the carbon coming off. No big deal. And I'm looking for adding lubrication, you know, here, on this rail. You can just put some on like the little tips, and then it'll ride along as you move the bolt carrier group back and forth. All right, so can remove the firing pin retain pin, and as you see, firing pin. Pretty dirty. It's got a little oil on it, so we know it's moving back and forth fine. Again, no issues, just a matter of maintenance interval. So it's clean. Alright, cam pin comes out. You want to rotate it to it's facing long ways here. Push the bolt all the way in. It's kind of weird facing the camera doing this. There we go. So this part gets a lot of wear, so this always wants to be inspected and have a lube on it. Okay. Okay, looking good. I mean, I've just barely got a little bit of polishing on there. Hardly anything. Okay. Again, the bolt does have oil still on it. You really want to have oil around this little ring here, and around this part here is where the gas key is. And around here you see some polishing. Also, I like to put a little bit of lube around the little lugs there. That's like the minimum amount you need. There's a carbon buildup here that gets kind of crusty. It's really not going to impede anything, so it's more of just if it bothers you or not. For the extractor, there's a pin here, and you want to push that out and pull the extractor off. So conveniently the firing pin fits, so push that out like so, and then you can pull it out. This is the kind of a pain in the ass because it's so slick. There we go. Okay. So obviously don't lose this. Okay. And this is the Extractor Claw. I'm just inspecting this. Where I really want to get in here is on the lip here, and I want to just make sure that's clean. I've got my spring and donut. That really adds a lot of reliability to the ejection pattern. So this is good. In here, I'm just looking to do a little quick wipe down. You can actually see the firing pin channel, and so you can actually take a Q-tip, kind of just get in there a little bit and just see what kind of crud you might be able to find. You can actually take the Q-tip, depending on, I wouldn't do this with cheap Q-tips, by the way, but you can get in there, wipe it down, pull some carbon. Again, not stuff that's going to impede your function, it's just, why not, if you can. Alright, so what I want to do with this is I'm going to press it down from where the spring is. Okay, and that flattens it out, and then I'm going to stick this pin back in here, and it should, if you're putting enough pressure here, it'll slide right in, and it'll be flush on both ends. So that's done. Okay. This is Geisley charging handle. The lubrication and cleaning basically is the same for all of them. Just taking out this channel here. I've got a little bit of wear and tear here on this side. That's where I want to make sure I have oil. A little bit on this side as well. And then inside, because this is where the gas key sits. Right, so anything to make it smoother is what I like to do. So that's wiped down. And we'll take a towel and go ahead and get in here. I'm just going to basically try to get in here and clean everything out. Luckily this is kind of where I can fit my hands. Brush will work for this, or you can take you know, something like this, or like the firing pin, try to move it around if you have big hands or fat fingers, or just use a straight up Q-tip. Which what I'll do here is, again, I'll bend this and then I'll come in here and work that star chamber. And you can get in here where the little flat spot is, and in the teeth. And again, this is pretty clean considering. Alright, so all good there. What I want to do now is I do want to punch the bore. I don't use any kind of like bore cleaner, barrel, whatever. I'm not super into that. I think there's an avenue for it, but this isn't. This maybe applies to precision guns or things like that where super tight tolerances. For this, I'm not super concerned about it. I just kind of want to just keep it clean and keep a little bit of lubrication through it when I'm not shooting it. So looking at it, looks pretty clean as is. So just pushing it through. And that's hardly anything. So that's more just for adding that little bit of lube down there. And then I'll leave that as that. Again, I'll take my Q-tip that I haven't used here and add a little bit of lube. And then I'm going to stick it down in the chamber, and that's, you know, where the basically the casing of the bullet sits. Make sure that's all good. Alright, so we're going to do a quick cleaning on the BCG, and what I'm doing here is taking a Q-tip and running it down inside where the bolt goes. So it's picking up a lot of crud right here where the cam pin channel is. It's back through here. It's really all you need. No need for anal retentive scrubbing or anything like that. Okay, so just the face of that. You don't have to do this, but sometimes I like to do a little cleaning in there just to make sure that's good to go. Okay, as far as lubrication on your bolt, I'm gonna wipe this down. What I'm looking for is to clean the face, and I've already cleaned the extractor, so that's really important for reliability. For lubrication of the actual bolt, I'm going to put some on this little ring and some around the gas rings, and then do a little quick spread around, and then I'll put some here on the end where we have this polishing. Okay, and I'll put some on the lugs after I've assembled the whole thing, because right now I'm kind of holding on to it. Alright, throw that in there. It's moving around nice. Make sure the extractor faces upward to the right if the bolt is facing forwards. Take your cam pin. I've already wiped it down and add a little bit of, just a drop of lube, and so that's nice and coated. You want to turn it, the top is long ways, and then orient this hole. Oops. Like that, and this should just slide in there. Okay, and then you want to pull the bolt out and make sure that this is now turned to 90 degrees, so it's long ways, crisscrossing the bolt. No lube on the firing pin is necessary. Just drop it down in there. Okay, make sure it seats all the way, that the bolt is all the way forward. It's very important. Firing pin retaining pin, I'm going to wipe that down, and just, you know, whatever lube I might have on my fingers, just enough, because sometimes these kind of get finicky to go inside, back inside the BCG. So we're putting it there, and I like to just look down here where the firing pin is, and you can kind of see it go across, and sometimes you might have to twist a little bit to get it in. This one always comes in nice. It's a little bit more difficult on some of my other guns. And then what you want to do is make sure that the firing pin doesn't come out. Make sure this moves back and forth. And then that's good to go. Now, before I put the lube on the outside of that, I'm going to go ahead and prep the inside of the gun here. And by doing that, I'm going to go ahead and wipe this down. I've got some wear here and here. So what I'm going to do is put lube along the sides here, rub it down, and on the top, rub it down, and then just down in here a little bit. Okay? So just one drop here, 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 and inside here. Okay? And then I'm just going to kind of rub it down like you're oiling a hot grill, right? Alright. That's all you need. We're going to have it, you know, flat face down, push it in, those two tabs will drop in. You know, that's going to be good. You have to have it out a little bit to put the bolt in and slide it all together. For this guy, again, my wear points, what I'm looking at is along this top rail here, bottom rail, this face right here. Same thing on the side. These upper corners of the gas key, and then I might put a little bit right on the outside of the cam pin, and then on the bolt lugs. So just a drop here, 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 there, and then along my lugs. And that will, a couple drops there, and it'll kind of run. 3 drops. So again, I'm just gonna rub that in, just spreading it. It'll go where it needs to. And that's all you need. And in the field, if you're just gun starts getting a little sluggish, or you start getting malfunctions, gun looks kind of dry, all you need to do is drop a few drops. When it's inside the gun, you can pull this back about halfway and drop some here on the bolt on the other side of the, actually I'll show you here. Inside here you'll see where the wear and tear is, and where the polishing is, and just drop oil there. And when you're looking down inside through here, you can just drop one on the top rail, bottom rail, and then on the bolt, and then you can throw a little bit on this side corners, and it'll move enough, and that'll be enough lubrication to get you going. Worst case, you can take oil out of your car. I don't recommend WD-40, but in a pinch that would work. Basically any kind of lubricant that's going to be for mechanical use. But again, remember, if you're using synthetic, don't mix petroleum based. So just keep a little bit on hand. So this is going to drop right here. Okay. What I like to do is I like to just put a couple drops again on these wear points here. All right. Push it in, pull it out, and just move it back and forth. And that's very smooth right now, and that's like butter. All right, so that's good to go. Close that bad boy up. Okay. The last thing we'll do here is a function check. Let me get my sling here sorted out. Press them together. Okay. All right. So then just move it around. Off safe. Fire, hold the trigger. Let it go. Pop back. Fire again. All right. It goes off safe. Try to fire on safe. And that's good to go for that guy. All right, for the handgun, basically with the Smith & Wesson, there's a little lever down here. You can use your finger. This little piece right here actually twists and comes out. Again, I've got delicate enough digits to get in there. And then what you're going to do is press this lever down. Hold this lever down while you go forwards, and that'll separate it. Then you have the whatever you call it, the recoil spring, and then that's the barrel here. Big thing about these guys is this is just requires a nice wipe down, and then I put lube here on this rail, and then on the inside of these rails here. I also want to clean the extractor, so sometimes I'll run like a patch or something like through here and clean that out, and clean the bolt face. Again, very important. The barrel, I want to wipe down the feed ramps, clean the chamber, punch the bore, and then make sure oil is out here on the outside where you see this wear mark. Down here I'm just looking around through these guts and things like that, and just wiping everything down. I might drop a little bit of oil on these little spots here. That's basically it. So I'll go ahead and get started with that. With these, I actually like to use the Q-tips to get down in here, get this grit. See, that works pretty good, right? Luckily, these things can run pretty long time without really any maintenance. But again, the idea is to check your gun out, looking for wear and tear, anything weird, looking for rust. anything that's going to impede the function. Okay. And I'm getting this Q-tip up in here and getting this extractor. I'm not doing the striker channel. That's something that you can look at one of my other videos, and I kind of go into that. Basically, you take this plate off, and then you're going to take the channel, the striker out, the firing pin, wipe it down, clean the chamber, and then put it back. No lubrication on that. Okay, so this is down here. What I want to do here is just wipe down. I see a lot of like carbon buildup. Again, this is just more of just cleaning the big junk off of it. Okay. And for the barrel, I'll actually use another paper towel, and I'll really get down here and scrub this feed ramp. I'm going to wipe down the outside. Alright, for the barrel, using my large patches. Same thing, I'm just really looking to put a coat of oil and kind of just wipe it out. Just a drop or two here, a little bit more since it's a bigger tube. What's wrong there? But I'm going to do both anyway. Okay, it's good. Then actually go ahead and do the other barrel as well. One here. Okay, not too bad between two barrels. Go ahead and wipe this one down as well. I guess I go ahead and clean them at the same time on here, right? So we're looking for a nice clean feed ramp, nice and shiny. The recoil springs, I just wipe them down. No need to lube those. This guy, I think, was cleaned more recently, so it's not too dirty. Put the oil in there. Cleaning the surface off. Getting that up underneath that extractor. The thing you can do here is actually take one of these patches and run it up. You know how like you kind of floss, so you're like flossing basically the Extractor Claw. It's going to really help with your reliability. Alright, so just, you know, getting stuff off like that. Alright, super easy. Alright, so for the oil on these guys, start with the slide on the inside. I'm just going to put some on the center spine, okay, and then down along these flat faces here, and then down along the rails. Just kind of like put it on the ends and let them run forwards. There's a kind of a polishing going on here. Put a drop down there, okay, just right in through here. The barrel, 2 drops. Kind of run these rings, and I'll just go this little spread to the whole barrel. Okay, and then I like to put a little bit on that face right there. Okay, anywhere you see polishing is a good indicator of where you might need lube. Nice, see how nice and slides there. Very nice. And then recoil spring, this little bolt face type deal goes forwards, and this push this, and it slides into this slot here. Okay. For this, I'm just going to Because I already put some down the rails. Gonna go ahead and put it there. Hold this forwards. A little excess oil there. See, I'm getting it running out there. Alright, so I'm putting it together. Locking it back. Okay, releasing this. Now releasing it forward. I've got a little oil moving around here. I have to wipe that off. Lock it. So it's not working. So what I have is I don't have a magazine in there. So I've got that little disconnect there. So I'll just push that up, eject it, and that closed that little the disconnect. So here, holding it down, let it go. All right, so that's good to go. You're gonna wipe it down. Same process with this guy. Got the disconnect again, remember. I can go ahead and probably show the disconnect right now. This little thing right here. Go ahead and close that. Okay, so for this, pop a little on his face, down the rail. There's flat spots there. Let it run down actually in the rails. Just let it kind of run forward there. Okay. Around these rings. Load it on the face. Okay, that'll slide nice. Okay. Okay, remember hold this lever forward, push it forward, lock it back, okay? Let the latch go up, okay? Okay, and then we'll do a quick wipe down here. Now in the field, if you just need to do a quick lubrication, what you want to do is just unlock it, throw a couple drops right here, okay? And then you want to just do a little bit right there, and that should be good. They'll have your gun run for quite a long time, especially like a Glock or any kind of good striker fired pistol. So magazines, I'll just do a quick demo. Really just looking to wipe down the spaces. You can get a cleaner or something like that in there. Really don't worry about it. Polymer doesn't rust. Pick a random one here. I'm looking for these wear points here. Looking good. Clean the face. Again, what you can do is take these bottom plates out, pull the spring out, and wipe those down. You don't really need lube unless you're going to do, excuse me, a lot of stuff in the water. So, got random hairs, things like that. Just begin to wipe these down, and that'll be done. So, anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. If you got any questions, thumb down below. If you like the video, please think about subscribing, giving it a thumbs up, sharing it. I know a lot of my viewers are not subscribers, but I like to put out content like this and other shooting type footage for fun. So if you want to get updated on that, just hit subscribe with the little bell. I think it'll message you when I'm posted a video.
.372.
All hits?